Happy birthday. 130 years of Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Although, to be fair, for the first 10 years of Blackpool Pleasure Beach, it wasn't referred to as Blackpool Pleasure Beach, so arguably it's 120 years of Blackpool Pleasure Beach, plus 10 years when it was just South Shore Fair on the sands or something. Anyway, it's 130 years of Blackpool Pleasure Beach, in whatever guise. That's a lot of rides, a lot of history, and a lot of experience. So how am I going to celebrate? How do you celebrate 130 years of Blackpool Pleasure Beach? By doing 130 videos. I'm kidding. I'm kidding in as much as I probably won't make 130 videos in 2026 based around Blackpool Pleasure Beach. However, I am going to make a goodly few. A goodly few. So my plan is to not make 130 videos for the 130th birthday of Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I'd love to. I'm not sure I have the time. However, I am going to do a History of Blackpool Pleasure Beach series. Oh, I hear you say it. I know. There are a number of other content providers who have made some really good histories of Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Coaster Dad has done one of, if not the best. Well worth seeing, in 4 parts. Absolutely watch it. I'm not going to try and do that. I'm not going to try and compete with that. I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to do a number of probably shorter videos. Each one will be concentrating on one element or one ride. That element might be different ride manufacturers. It might be designers. It might be sponsorship deals. It could be all sorts of things. However, what will definitely be the backbone will be some deep dives into the history of the rides. Because without the rides, there is no Pleasure Beach. Well, there is a Pleasure Beach, but it wouldn't be much fun. It would just be a large 42-acre site with a number of food outlets, slightly overpriced food outlets, only slightly overpriced, because actually Blackpool is nowhere near the worst. But we go for the rides, whether it be the coasters or the dark rides, the flat rides, but it's the rides. I think I could probably do 130 videos if I had the time, just concentrating on 130 different rides at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. It depends. I've been doing a lot of research. I've been reading books. Books? Good God, man. He's even looked at books. No, I have. I've read books around Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I've done deep dives online. I've been to certain libraries and other areas that have got some form of archive around Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And I've been obviously trawling online. And when I put it all together, I think some of the rides, at least, are starting to make sense on what a timeline it looks like and what those rides actually were. In some cases, where they went, where they came from, how long they were there, anything notable that took place, and just get a flavour of what the ride was like. So yeah, not quick to do. I've been doing it for a while. So with 130 years, and Lord knows how many rides there have been, I haven't even done a count. But bearing in mind, I think I could get to almost 50 rides that I have ridden that no longer exist on Blackpool Pleasure Beach, which means there are almost certainly going to be 130 rides overall. However, I've got an initial list. And this is kind of, here's a snippet of the list. And this is what you can look forward to or just try and avoid. I prefer you look forward to, but even if you don't look forward to, hopefully you'll sample at least a few. So I'm going to be looking at different points at the Scenic Railway, the Ghost Train, the Ghost Train. The Ghost Train is the bane of my life. The Ghost Train is not as straightforward as it seems. And trying to get a definitive history of the Ghost Train has been so far the most difficult ride of everything I've looked at. The Takeda Express. Gotta love it. Noah's Ark of course. How would you not do Noah's Ark? It's still there, standing, not in operation. The Joy Wheel. The Joy Wheel, of course, isn't a Ferris wheel or an Ellis wheel. And it isn't the Rainbow Wheel. That's coming later. Joy Wheel, latterly seen, or a version of it latterly seen, in the Funhouse. Although when I talk about the Funhouse being latterly seen, I keep on having to shake myself that we're talking about 30 years ago for the Funhouse. Doesn't time go fast when you're having fun? The Pleasure Beach Express, again, surprisingly interesting history of the Pleasure Beach Express. The Monitor and Merrimack. Oh yes, I can guarantee there is no one watching this right now. I could probably leave that sentence there. I can guarantee there's no one watching this right now. But if there is, I can guarantee you never saw Monitor and Merrimack. And probably the vast majority of you have got no idea what I'm talking about. But at one point, it was physically the biggest ride on the Pleasure Beach. Told you it'd be interesting. I didn't. I'll add it in later. It'll be interesting. See. I'm going to be looking at the river caves, which I would dearly love to be back operational this year, and I would love to think that the Blackpool are going to suddenly go, ta-da! Despite the fact throughout last year I was absolutely convinced river caves would be back. Reimagined for this year, now I'm not too sure. But I still have my fingers crossed that it might happen, so... The Rainbow Wheel, previously mentioned, again, an interesting ride that doesn't do what you'd think it would do. The Magic Mountain. The Magic Mountain is up there amongst the rides I most miss, and I think anyone who rode it back in the day, if you didn't ride it, it was effectively round about where Dora's World Adventure, or whatever that's called, is now, near Blue Streak, or Little Dipper as I always call it. And it was a dark ride, and it was kind of weird, messed up, dark fairy tale toys. Anyway, much to talk about and reminisce about with that ride. The Tagada, which later on became part of the whatever haunted hotel turned into. You'll know. I've got it written down somewhere. I can't remember. But anyway, the Tagada. The Octopus, not Monster. That's coming too, but the Octopus, for which, case surprise, Blackpool Pleasure Beach had the first ever octopus outside of America. For this, we have to go back to the 1930s. And when I think about the 1930s, yes, clearly that's 100 years ago, almost 90 years ago. But when I think there are rides that had been successful and then gone before the octopus ever arrived, that gives an idea about how far my deep dive goes back. The Grand National, of course, I couldn't do a look back at the rides of the Pleasure Beach without the Grand National, because it has always been and probably will always be my favourite ride. Finding new things out about the National, it will be an interesting journey that will take in trips to America and all sorts. So watch your space for the Grand National. The Tumblebug, which then became another ride. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But it was around for a long time. Jack and Jill. The Jack and Jill is a ride that, for years, all I knew about it is that it appeared near the Funhouse in old postcards, and I had no idea what it was. Although kind of Jack and Jill went up the hill, pail of water, Jack fell down, broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Well, actually, it doesn't end well for Jill, or certainly at least one female rider of that particular ride, but we'll get to that when we get to it. The Gold Mine, again a favourite of mine when I was younger. I'll do the Gold Mine and we'll see how we get on. The Cuddle Up, another ride that many people are going to go, you are? The Cuddle Up. I mean, a number of these rides will have some filmed elements, however short, and it may just be that they appear in the background of a shot. In a lot of cases, all we have left are photographs from the time, publicity from the time, postcards from the time. Cat goes meow. Cat says hi. Hi. The House of Nonsense, another one that mostly appears in the back of old postcards. It's like, oh look, in the background there's something called the House of Nonsense. What was the House of Nonsense? Well, you'll find out. The Caterpillar, another classic ride that I remember still being on fairgrounds when I was a kid, many moons ago. And for this, I'm going to do a call out to Coaster Dad, who inspired me to do a bit of a dive into this from his first video in his Blackpool Pleasure Beach history season, and that is the Indian Temple of Mysteries. What was the Indian Temple of Mysteries? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't always the Indian Temple of Mysteries. So I will be able to take you through, probably over 2 or maybe even 3 videos, the original use of that location, what it turned into, what it finally became, and what became of it. It might have burnt down. A few things did. Funhouse. A few things almost did. Big Dipper. Anyway, we'll get to that. So, there are a lot of things. But this year, 2026, is not just Pleasure Beach's 30th birthday. It is also an anniversary for me. Me, little me. Can't really call myself little anymore. In fact, probably never could. I've now been going to the Blackpool Pleasure Beach for 50 years. My Lord. 50 years. I first rode the Grand National. I'm almost positive it could have conceivably been 1976, but it was 1977. But in 1976, I rode Little Dipper. Why are you commenting? Shush, push, push. That's a real cat. That's a real cat. I haven't just like superimposed the meowing. Say hi to Loki. Nothing to do with the Aviktas ride, sister ride. Anyway, so I rode Little Dipper, Magic Mountain, the Gold Rush, Ghost Train. Of course, how could I forget Ghost Train? And I think I also rode Monster that first time. And I have an idea it was the following year before I rode Grand National. But either way, it's 50 years. 50 years of riding rides at the Pleasure Beach. And so I'm going to be celebrating both the 130th anniversary of the Pleasure Beach, congratulations Pleasure Beach, and my 50th. I know there will be people watching this, probably not a huge amount of them, but there will be some people watching this who will be going, well, I've been going to the Pleasure Beach for 55 years, or 60 years, or 70 years. You know what? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've got any reminiscences or photos, oh, Lord help us, if you've got any old Super 8 footage or anything else, I would love to hear from you. This is going to be a bit of a passion project for me. Blackpool Pleasure Beach has always been my park. Not literally my park. Please don't go and tell Amanda Thompson I'm going around saying it's my park. Otherwise I wouldn't be buying a yearly pass, for which I do have this year, and I'm going to be breaking the back of it. So yeah, if you have any requests for particular rides you'd like me to do a bit of a deep dive on, whether they are current, whether they're rides that you can remember as when you were younger, or whether or not it's just stuff you've read about, heard about, or seen in the background of a postcard from the 19s or 1930s or even earlier, let me know, because I'm going to be doing a load of these and I'm going to be starting very soon. So let me know what you think. As I say, it's going to be a great year. There's going to be a lot of Blackpool Pleasure Beach content, I've got no doubt, and I look forward to seeing you in the park. Come on then. Someone might want to come and say hello. Come on. Hello. Oh dear. You want to come and sit on me? Come on, puss. Say hello to everybody. Hiya. This is Loki. He's gorgeous and huge and doesn't want to be held. Up, down you go. It would be really helpful if you would consider subscribing. And of course, that way you're less likely to miss any of this wonderful Blackpool Pleasure Beach content. Until later, I hope to see you out there on the park. Laters. All right, I'm going to let you out now.